No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News. The Riley and Ridge Show takes you into the locker room and the coach's office, giving you a unique perspective on Boise State football from two guys who know a thing or two about what it takes to win on the blue. Combined, they have nearly 3 decades of coaching experience, none of which came from Riley Smith. But he played for the Broncos and won 52 games and 2 Mountain West championships during his 6 years. Kent Riddle won 7 conference championships during his 13 years as an assistant coach at Boise State and has 29 years of coaching experience overall. The Riley and Ridge Show is presented by Jackson's, where 25 cents from each hot dog sold goes directly to the Horseshoe Collective to support Boise State student athletes. Visit a Treasure Valley Jackson's location today. Now, here's Riley Smith and Kent Riddle for another edition of the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, Bronco Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Riley and Ridge Show, sponsored by Jackson's. And we're back here at the James. We got some great special guests tonight. We got former Boise State linebacker Winston Venable, former wide receiver Tyler Shoemaker, and we got a great special guest, former Boise State DB DeAndre Pierce, all the way out in Vegas, man.
We had to get a Vegas representation since the Broncos are going to roll down strong this weekend.
It's only right. It's only right.
DeAndre, what's going on, man? You grinding in the office right now?
Yeah, man, grinding. So like Tuesday is just typical base game plan day. So, base runs, base pass. I mean, that's pretty much the whole day from about 6 o'clock this morning to about 11 o'clock at night. So I still got about like 4 more hours here, but it's going good.
We appreciate you cutting away for a minute to jump in with us. No practice on Tuesdays in the NFL, right?
No, sir. No practice on Tuesdays. Just Wednesday, Thursdays. It's just basically just a day ahead of college. So
yeah. Yep. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate it. We'll hit everybody up with some good stories here, and obviously huge game this weekend for the Broncos and really, college football as a whole. I mean, I've seen a bunch of things already. Game of the week, Friday night on CBS Sports Network, all that stuff. So I think the whole college football world be tuned in watching. But DP, you're down there in Vegas. Like, what's kind of the buzz down there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big game. Obviously last year we beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. And, they've been on a 12-game winning streak ever since then. So obviously division rival as well, conference rivals. So there's a lot of tension, a lot of boiling up coming into this one for sure.
No doubt. How about the any buzz on the Broncos coming to town?
Oh yeah, I actually already saw on my way to work like early, like
no,
5:30.
yeah, no, hey, that one is. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
And let's
No,
be
yeah,
honest. There's way more eyes on that nationally.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. Like when I was on the way to work this morning, like I saw somebody with a Boise, Idaho license plate. So I was like, either they drove out here or maybe they're just right down the street or soming. But I mean, I see it's already starting. So I'm
Three
excited.
games early this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But are you feeling a little Bronco Rebel buzz down there? Like you thinking this will be a big deal in town there?
Oh no, it's definitely going to be a big deal. I mean, especially I mean, honestly, and part of it is credit due to them is UNLV obviously with their success because typically these kind of matchups is always favoring Boise, but now obviously this is pretty much like a conference title eliminator in the sense, or something that I read on Twitter with Colorado State not playing either of them, kind of controlling their own destiny. So I mean, this is really this is huge. I mean, honestly, this is pretty much going to set like the second half of the season really for Boise. So I mean, man, I'm excited for him. I got an alumni, Scott Turner, Norv Turner's son. He went to UNLV, so me and him kind of been talking it up, along with Gerald Alexander, Alex Madison, who's also here. So we've kind of just been barking at him a little bit this week.
You get a few guys. Gerald Alexander there too, right?
Oh yeah, love him. Great dude, great coach. Super clear and concise with his teaching, mentality of a dog. I mean, I grew up watching him and analyzing him. Obviously, he's from Southern California too, so I've always known about him. So being able to work here with him too has just been amazing.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, so one of the questions just kind of wanted to ask you, obviously ton of Heisman hype around here in Boise, really probably for the second time ever. And you guys got to experience that a little bit with Kellen. And I don't think nearly even to the level it is now.
No.
And part of that is Kellen, not just being kind of into that.
A little more reserved guy.
Yeah.
And Ashton, to his credit, like it's not like he's out there, doing a million things to promote himself, anything. It just, I think times have changed. And
and even on like the just social media and coverage and all those type of things, I think you joke about Kellen and his personality, right? But Boise had obviously done things, and Kellen was a big part of putting Boise on the map. But there's so much access to these guys. There's so much news flying around every day, big media stations, social media, that the stories just get out more than even back in the day with Kellen.
Well, and you guys got to play with Kellen as a Heisman contender. DP, you actually got to play with a Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Happened to be, a year or two later, but, talk just like what it's like to play with all you guys, like with guys of that caliber, so people can relate a little bit to, what it's like to be a teammate of Ashton's now, because that's what most of the people watching this care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'll speak on like Jaden. I mean, he was a different breed, and we knew that. And like honestly, if you look at our 2021 ASU roster, I mean, that team was loaded with talent. I mean, I think there's already about I'm not exaggerating, at least 7 to 8 dudes that got drafted already into the NFL, with like plenty more as undrafted. And obviously there's still more to come, because we had like extreme veteran leadership, like 6-year guys, and then we had like true freshmen that were absolutely balling. And so, but Jaden, though, he was completely different. I mean, his speed was unreal. I mean, like he would take off in practice, and like he would always slow down, like kind of when he got to like that point that we were about to start like really chasing him. But I mean, you felt that in practice though, so you knew it was different. And then his arm talent, it's always been there. Like I used to see it every day in practice. Like obviously we didn't have the seasons we wanted to at ASU, which is more of a team thing rather than just him. But he was different in himself. And then just real quick, speaking on Ashton, I remember when I got back to Boise, when I first went back there as a recruiting assistant. I get there in 22, and I see Ashton in the summer just in the weight room, and I'm like, I just see just by the look of him, I'm like, oh, you got to be the starter. And he was like, no, George Halani's still here, and I'm like, oh man, that's right, like he is still there. But I remember we get the fall camp, and
who's also an NFL player. We should mention.
Yeah,
exactly. And then I remember we get to fall camp, and maybe it was like the second or third day. Like I saw him just take an outside zone and just kill every DB that had an angle on him, and just absolutely smoke by everybody. And I remember like at that time, like seeing how big he was, and I was like, God damn, like it's no way this dude is that fast. Like, and I saw it at least a couple times. Then now, like obviously with the year he had last year, propelling him into this season, I mean, like his speed, number one, is just off the charts to me. I mean, like obviously like those guys like that, big, swole, like low center of gravity, obviously hard to tackle. But I mean, damn, when you can run away from him, I mean, that's terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to hear from Shu too, right? Like, I have my own personal experience with Kellen, and when I've told this story before, but I showed up here as a junior college transfer, and we had PRPs or we had summer workouts or whatever. And the first time I've ever been no-looked by a quarterback was Kellen. And, you know, he looked down the flat and threw the curl behind me. And I never forget, like, oh, like this is another level of college football. But then I didn't really realize at the time that, no, Kellen is super special. Like, he was doing the no-look pass before anybody else. That, you know, that stuff's, you know, Mahomes is just now getting there with the no-look. Kells was doing that in 2008, the spring, when I showed up, and I was like, okay, this is a different level. But, you know, I appreciate your perspective, DeAndre, and I'd like to hear from Shu. Just like, I went against Kellen, and I understand that perspective, but what is that like? Being with a guy like that in the locker room, meeting room, preparing with a guy like Kellen. And then obviously you've caught a lot of touchdowns and the most touchdowns and still hold that, you know, so there's a different relationship that you have with a Heisman type of guy. So we got to all tap into like how you went about that experience with him.
It's totally surreal. I mean, really, even then it was, I mean, to your point, like going back when I got recruited in, I'm a freshman or a senior in high school, getting ready to start my freshman year at Boise State. I'm on the sideline at spring practice, and it's, hey, this is Kellen Moore. He's the quarterback coming in with your class, right? I'm looking at this dude, and I'm like, yeah, what? Like, I mean, come on, like, really? And he throws this left-handed ball, and it's spinning the wrong way, and I'm just like, God, I hope I'm playing with the ones, you know what I mean? Like, I can get out of this freshman deal. And then to see his progression over the years, I mean, right away, obviously, he was super talented, and just the mind for the game was next level compared to everybody. I mean, chess to checkers, right? Like that dude was playing a different game. So during that Heisman run that he had, I mean, it's kind of like DeAndre said, like our goal as a team was, you know, win the Mountain West, play in a bowl game, you know, do all these things. And it really wasn't about the individual accolades, but to have Kellen get that notoriety and that visibility on the national level was like, damn, dude, we're doing this. Like, we are legit. Like, watch out, guys. Like, this dude is unreal. So it's really cool to see Ashton again doing his deal. I mean, he's just a highlight reel every time he's on the field. You cannot not watch that guy.
And it really does put him on the map, because, like, I remember growing up, I was all the way out in Florida, and we started watching Boise State football around that time, just because all the buzz from Kellen, and then we became big Boise State fans all the way across the country. So it's crazy how, like, one guy, one team can kind of blow it up and get, like, reach fans all the way across the country. It's kind of crazy.
Winston, you were the running back coach, right, when we recruited Ashton.
Yep.
And, I mean, can you imagine how much easier it is to recruit a running back today?
Well, obviously, Coach Montgomery's done an awesome job developing those guys. But, yeah, like, when you can have that type of stable, that credibility, that reputation, and be able to say, hey, look at what we've done. Like, there's no, I think Ashton would even say, like, and we would all say, right, like, you're a coach and you've been a player, but we've also all three here been Bronco players. Like, we really appreciate our coaches and respect our coaches and understand that coaches really elevate our game and take it to the next level. So, like, I think that there's been all sorts of coaches that have impacted all the Broncos. And in this day and age, you have different coaches every year or every 2 years or 3 years. So shout out to Coach Montgomery and what he's doing. And heck yeah, man, when he's on the phone with some recruits talking about,
He's got a little
talking about the stable and let's be real, man, it's not just Ashton Genty. Right. Like those guys. And I got a little bit of passion and pride for my man, Tyler Crow. Yeah. But every time that dude's out there and he touches the rock, I mean, it's awesome, man. So,
shotgun and beers in the end zone.
Hey, man, come on, dude. I mean, have some fun. Hey, DeAndre, while we're at it real quick, just because Rid brought it up, I've been in the running back room. You actually opened up this segment today talking about run game and pass game. Now, hey, man, I know you of a dude that likes to run around and hit people and fly around and be that safety nickel line. I mean, dude, you could have played in the box, and that's how you're built, right? But now you're on that different side of the ball. Like, was as a running back coach, how's that transition been, right? Like, how are you handling the challenges of learning that other side of the ball? How are you taking that knowledge in and applying it and being able to like build your confidence full picture wise, conceptually, like being a coach on all areas of the game?
Hey, and I got to interrupt for a second though. Like this guy's like a rising star in coaching, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we knew that as a player. I mean, Riley was around. I'm being serious. It's easy to say that and say, oh, his dad's a head coach and blah, blah, blah. Everybody that's ever been around DP knows that ain't the case. Like,
FBI, man, always on top of that.
We had Call on here and Avery, we talk about him all the time. But like when you guys were back there, offenses had no chance. And even worse during spring ball, because those guys literally knew every play that was coming. And they'd just be like pointing at each other like, here it comes.
Frustrating. It was frustrating.
So unfair.
Hey, the best thing though was when I went to Arizona State and Coach Hill, Zach Hill, in ASU. It was the same thing. Like it was like practice. It's probably like maybe like day 3 of fall camp, and I'm already kind of calling out like just stuff I remember seeing before in practice. Him and Jaden would just get so pissed at me, like, we're trying to get a look, and I'm like, well, I'm not trying to give up a catch, so I don't know. But to answer Winston's point though, like I think the biggest thing on offense is all about like execution. Like that's probably like, I wouldn't say like the major difference, but defense is all about like mentality, like 11 dogs at the ball, like just everybody just starving, like humble and hungry, trying to like kill somebody. At least that's how I was thinking. And then offense, it's all about like, in my opinion, just like deception and execution. Like how do we like set the defense up, get them in these fronts that we want them in, make them like drop a safety down. Understanding the can system as well has been like probably like the biggest thing for me. Like, okay, like let's say we have a weak side call run, and then like the weak safety rotates down. All right, now we have to can it to the strong side. Little things like that have really opened my eyes a lot, especially like at this level. Like even when I'm watching film, like I'll just be watching like other teams, and like I'll see the quarterback can, and I'm like, okay, like what was the defense showing? What could they have potentially can too? Just so, like you said, Winston, when I get back on the other side of the ball, like now I have more of like a big picture idea of like really what's going on, like in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, really just being on offense, honestly, but it's so much fun. I mean, I'll say the hardest part was just learning the play calls, because I mean, I'm so used to under 4, boom, got it. Yeah, now it's like Y mode, it trips left, Z fly. Blah, blah, blah. Like it's like a whole paragraph, especially when you have like a can in the play. So it's basically 2 plays. I mean, it took me like, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like a couple months just to like get that down. And, like, and you guys know me, like I pride myself on like my knowledge of football and everything. So like I was struggling with this hard, and it was bothering me like hell. I'm like, man,
I've been right there with you, bro. So
I'm like, it's not clicking like it usually is.
But
like, it's not
I think the other thing, like defense, like you're trying to stop every single play, right? For no yards. And on offense, it's like, well, yeah, if they take that away, we'll check it down and we'll get 5. Or if it's we have to throw it away, we'll throw it away and it's 2nd and 10, and whatever. We'll just get 10 on the next play. So like you said, just totally different mentalities.
Exactly. Like even in practice, like a defense, like if we don't, let's say like we mess up a call or we like mess up a play, like we got to do it over and over and over again until we get it right. Otherwise, they're gonna put up 70. Offense, if it doesn't work, just go to the next play call, or just like scratch that off the list. Like it's so easy. Not easy, but like the pressure of not giving up 70 is in my opinion just a little bit greater than on offense. But
no, you're absolutely right. I think, and that's just such a different thing. And Winston, you experience it, right? Like you come over and you're like, hey man, that wasn't right. Like
like how was it for you?
Let's fix it and we'll move on.
Yeah. Well, from the offensive side, I mean, as a receiver especially, it's like a play didn't work if I didn't get the ball. So take that play out. Like no, we got 20. No, that play sucked. Like okay, but let's get a better play call here, coach. Like 89's open.
Nothing more frustrating than you had like the play in the game plan that you know is going to score a touchdown, right? Yeah. Oh. And somebody screws it up on Thursday, and Pete's like, "That's out.
That's out." That's like the worst words you can hear. Oh man, you've just been hitting it good. You hit it good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
whoever. But
all of a sudden, that's out. That's out. Whoa,
like that plays
come
out,
on.
and you're back in there lobbying like, no.
See, all three of you guys are offensive guys that had to deal with that type of drama. But me, and DeAndre, we just run and hit people, and that's a whole lot more simple than dealing with I didn't get the ball. Like we're just gonna go get the ball no matter what.
Harsh would do it where like we would go out to practice on Tuesday morning and we would learn 100 plays an hour before that, and then we would walk through them right when you go on the field and you're still half awake, and like if you mess it up, he's like, that's out, or he puts someone else
walk through.
It was sick.
That was maybe the most stressful period of the whole week.
It was like, all right, these are my plays. I got to make sure I know those.
So, but here's the thing, though, right? So, like, how many of those plays, right, from a player perspective? Now, I've been on both sides of this thing. Yeah. So, as a coach, I've also coached that player, installed that play while we're probably already supposed to be outside.
Yeah.
And then it's on the player like, hey, I just rushed through that install. I just told them that we got to be ready to go for this play. And yeah, probably is best for me to tell Harsh, like, or tell the coach, like, yeah, man, like we didn't get to all that, or that's why that dude might not have been on point. And that's a fine line, right? As a coach, a player, we got to go out there and execute even at the walkthrough.
Yeah. We would do it like, because we had to do run game and pass game in our meeting, and run game was so intense that we were like, we got to lock in on this.
Spend some time on it, right?
So we're locked in.
We might be missing some other things going out to practice.
It would be.
Hey, by the way, you got this on this.
Yeah.
As we're walking to the locker.
We'd be walking down the stairs and Rid's saying the play and telling us the route, and we'd be in 7-on-7. And he's like, just look over to the sideline. We look over, Rid's drawing it on his hand or like yelling the route. But it was tough because you're like, I know this play's going to come up and I have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
It was tough.
DeAndre, while we got you on here, man, like, I just got to ask, right? You're a Raider now. You've been a Sun Devil. You've been a Bronco. I mean, if I was just a random person stopping you in the street, man, and asked like, hey, where'd you go to college? I mean, what's your story, man? Like, how much pride and passion do you put?
Pressure on
just real quick, remember, we're on Bronco Nation News, but I'm not putting any pressure on you. I'm just curious, man. Like, you have a unique journey, right? I know that you got a lot of pride for being a Bronco. Like, you put your body on the line and did that thing in a way that your alumni are proud. But, you have some time at some other place, which is normal these days. So just, hey, man, what's your love for being a Sun Devil, a Bronco, a Raider now? Kind of where do you fit within your story when that comes across?
Nah, man, I love Boise to death, man. And, like, honestly, I probably didn't appreciate it enough while I was there, which looking back, obviously, in hindsight, wish I would have, like everybody, wish you would have did things a little bit differently. But man, like kind of like what you were saying though earlier, just about like the coaches that we've had at Boise, like including you, Coach Rid, like I learned a whole bunch of like situational, like special teams, like just football 101 from you. Like in your meetings, like I used to learn so much. I mean, even my freshman year, because I know like my freshman year, maybe I was playing like sparingly at nickel, like in passing downs, but I was really getting all the burn at like gunner on punt return, being a corner on the.
Yeah, we wore you out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I loved it though. Like I learned so much, and just like all the coaches I've had. I mean, Avalos, Franklin, Ambrose, just all the coaches that I've ever had. Like even the offensive coach, like Coach Hill, was a huge part. Him and Brett Rippon as well, a huge part. Like just in my growth and my development, because like every time I would get like B or like something happened, like anytime I felt like I didn't know something, like it would piss me off. And so like if I got beat on something or I wasn't ready for something, like I would go up to Brett or like I would go up to Brett or Coach Hill right after, and I'd be like, hey, like what did you see, or like what made you want to do that, like what triggered it or whatever. And they'd be like, well, like speaking generally, like if you show too high, then like I'm gonna do this. If you're showing one high, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, all right. So now that started helping me in my disguise, and then just learning like route concept. But just overall though, like just Boise taught me everything. It honestly set me up to be who I am today, just like with the details, the discipline, the grind, the process of it. Like it was so kind of looking back on it myself, how I was taking it. Like it was so kind of cliche in the moment, like when I was in college, like, cause you're kind of just hearing it every day. So at times it does get like redundant, but like, man, like when you really go through like some hard stuff, and like when I have like things like adversities in my life, like I kind of just always like go back to that, like just kind of like how I was in my mentality, and like just how the coaches and like the culture. Really the teammates is obviously the biggest part. Like when I left Boise, that was the part that hurt me the most because like we all know here, like we're brothers, man. Like it's totally different. Like I didn't realize it until I left. Like I'm pretty sure like most of us did. So I love Boise to death, man. It was everything to me. Still shows me love to this day, even after I transferred.
No doubt.
Which I didn't know how that was going to be, honestly. Like I never wanted to leave on like a bad.
You didn't.
You know the best part of that answer, man, is that you didn't bring up ASU once, man. So
We'll save that for another day.
Yep, you got it. You're right.
Yeah, it's
we appreciate you, and hey, that's the other thing. Like for those that don't know, DeAndre had a chance to go play with family and do some of that stuff, and the rules changed, and that was an awesome opportunity for him, and something that I don't think anybody should ever overlook and judge, one person or another.
Absolutely. No.
And I think even going forward in college football, that's just reality.
Right.
We're in a different time now, and you don't have any idea why somebody might do something. It's just not the same as it was when really even Riley, who just finished, played.
Yeah.
Things are different now, and DP had a special reason to leave.
Absolutely.
And go do something different, and graduated from here, all that stuff. So it wasn't like he checked out. He gave everything he ever had while he was here. And I really think, kind of set the tone for how to prepare for the new group. Because I know you guys played with guys like didn't understand that, but I'm just telling you, like, remember every free spring ball practice, how that was, how hard it was to know, like, we got to go. I mean, we're putting fake plays in fake folders so that I go look at it.
Yeah. DP was on all that though. FBI high up there, man. So.
Yeah, it's kind of just muscle memory. I mean, like football, honestly, is just all a pattern. Like at the end of the day, like you could dress it up, like, and that's what offense is. Like offense, you just dress it up, but you're running the same patterns over and over. You're just presenting it a different way. And like I realized that early, something also that Brett and Coach Hill taught me. And like, man, once I figured that out, it's like, okay, like forget how everything they just did pre-snap, like boom, 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 boom. But then like, boom, once the play starts, like if I'm a hook defender, I'm always inside the final number 2. They could switch everybody on the field. As long as I find that final number 2, I'm good.
There you go.
And so it's like,
simplify the game, man.
The person that realizes that.
That's a great point, DP. I mean, not to bring up, Raiders or anything like that, but somebody was asking me this week at work, how's Devontae go over there and learn the plays, this and that? I'm like, it's football at the end of the day. It's route concepts, it's schemes, it's, reading the defense, and him and Aaron Rodgers have been doing that for a long time. So all they need to do is just get back to that signal that they had back in Green Bay. This is that. Oh, if I look twice, that's you. You know what I mean? Like it really is. It's just concepts. So dress it up, whatever you want to do, call it different things. That's fine. But at the end of the day, it's lines on the paper, and you're trying to find the open spot. So
biggest change is always learning the verbiage, right?
Yeah.
When you change places, learn the verbiage, because you already understand the concept if you played long enough.
Yep.
How is that for you? Like Riley, Shoe, like when you watch the Broncos, right? There's a little history with Dirk, right?
Yeah.
Being here, and whether that, there's an offensive philosophy or a Boise State way or whatever, right? Like Dirk's been here in the past and probably implemented some things and passed down that knowledge, expertise, and that's affected Coach Pete, Coach Harsh. We're a tight family, right? So like when you guys watch games, it's a little different from a defensive side where it's like I'm not necessarily looking at like, I mean, I just don't go there where, they were cover 2, they were in quarters. I'm just watching guys like Alexander Tubner fly around and hit people, and I love it, right? But like you guys might be like, that's climb right there. Climb, that's a certain concept that's right. Hey, that's exactly what we would run. So how is that for you guys, former players, watching that and almost probably being able to identify like, this is what we called that play. Yep. And is that a cool thing, or how do you guys view the game now, watching the Broncos and all that?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like you're up there and you're not necessarily like looking at the formation and breaking it down, but right when you see like DP said, the pattern forming, you're like, oh, this is climb. Or like anytime it's a trick play too, like I'll watch Matt Louder sometimes. And even him blocking down, like he sells it good, but I'm like, oh, he's about to release. He's about to release.
Yeah, you're on it. Yeah.
And he does it, runs a little high route. I'm like, I knew that shit was coming, especially like the down and distance too. You kind of know what was the bread and butter, what worked in the past, and what Cutter's going to keep bringing. But yeah, it's always funny. And then talking to the older guys, like, oh, this is what we called this, and like we ran the same thing but called it a different name. Is always cool to see too.
It's always been fun. I mean, even from the first year out, right? Things change, the terminology changed, the concepts change slightly, but it's all the same. What's fun for me now is watching Kells, right? Like Kells coaching for the Eagles or Dallas or Chargers.
Place, right?
It's the same place. It's like, bro, I know that play. Yeah, I spent on that like 5 times. Like, yeah, that's a great play. Call that more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. You get those little screen passes, and you're like, oh, Doug took that one to the house against ASU. Sorry, in the bowl game. Like, yeah. Awesome. It's really cool to see, DP's
cool.
point. Like it's concepts.
If you follow all the Boise State guys, all the stuff shows up.
Oh yeah.
And it's whether it's Kellen, Dirk, Pete at UW, like it's all the same stuff.
Yep.
And it's always got a different wrinkle to it, or the next thing off of it, like climb, and then now throwing the boomerang off it, which is really flood and all that stuff, and which now is like a staple of the offense. But back in 2014, it was like, oh, what if we did this?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I hate those routes.
DP, man,
there's a guy playing the odds.
DP, we're sitting with a bunch of offensive guys. You got me over here talking about climb and mesh concepts. You're over here on the offensive staff. What's going on, man? This is the O show. I'm used to being on that dark side, man. Times are changing, DP.
And that's the flip side, right? Defensively, you're sitting over there like trying to figure out when can you play the odds and when do you have to play it like honest.
Yeah.
And that's why you want a big lead, right? Because if you got a big lead, you can play the odds way more often and make some big plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a huge part of kind of like my process and thought was football is already a reactionary game, enough as it is. And so as much as I could prepare myself to but replace the reaction with more so anticipation, that's what would help me. I never wanted to be see something and then go do it. I wanted to anticipate and be the moment I see any little trigger, I'm already going. I'm shooting at full speed. And I know you guys used to see that, but obviously because there's a lot of good in it, obviously there's some bad in it. I used to jump the climb all the time, and then boom, y'all would hit that boomerang and it would piss me off. And I'm like, and then now I got to play climb honestly at least 5 more times before I get stuck.
Yeah, but you're playing the odds, and you're using all the information that you processed all week long going into that. And then the flip side as receivers, when you're playing a smart team or a smart guy, you're trying to think I can't do it exactly like I usually, I got to change it up a little bit.
Well, we talked about earlier, you rep it all week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you get the walkthrough, it's dialed. The scout team gives you the perfect look. And then all of a sudden the defense plays it the complete opposite that you all week. And you're like, oh, okay, so that's out. That was my touchdown. That's out. Great.
Yeah.
Good luck, Matt. Good catch. Touchdown. Cool. Whatever. But no, it is DP. Like you said, it's reaction, but it's in that anticipation, right? On both sides of the ball. I want this defender to go that way. I'm gonna do everything in my power to get him to go that way. But what happens when he doesn't? Right? What if he sits there? Then what do you do? Then that's your reaction. That's how you make those big plays.
Exactly. How I used to just try to keep it simple, just keep everything in threes. If I'm studying offenses, was top 3 formations, top 3 runs and passes out of those formations. And then so when I'm on the field, I get a trips look, I'm like, okay, it's either going to be A or B, and when in doubt, it's going to be C. Or even my job responsibility, okay, if he plays it this way, I'll do that. If he plays it like that, I'll do this. Any kind of gray area, any when in doubt, you have to have an answer. And I think that's one of the biggest keys in just playing fast. Whenever you're on the field and you're oh, something's about to happen and it ain't good. And I hated that. And I hated that feeling. So it was you got to have an answer for a when in doubt. That was all. I think that was probably what helped me a lot and what I've always tried to pass down. Just you got to have an answer. Even when you don't know, you got to be like convicted in something and go do it. Like even if you're wrong, because I mean, if you're right, you're gonna make a hell of a play, and if you're wrong, then I don't know, maybe you give yourself a little bit of a better chance. But it's all just you just gotta
I hope of like a bunch of high school football players are watching this right now. You know, seriously, like because you're learning from one of the best in terms of preparation and mindset and all that stuff. And you are sitting here with a bunch of offensive guys, so that is true. But you know, I think that's even a great mindset for the offense. Like, hey, let's narrow that. Like, let's not ever walk up to the line of scrimmage and think like, here's 100 different things that could happen.
Yeah, right.
You know, so I think that's unbelievable to share that with people. So
Yeah, we got a question from Tequila Gus. He said no one blamed you for leaving us, going to play with your dad, but how was that experience being able to play for him?
It was amazing. I'll say in high school, he was my coach my junior and senior year. And just being completely honest, that was extremely hard because I wasn't proving that. I wasn't proving at all whatsoever.
I've been to those practices. Nobody got
I'm like, you know the most because you because you were the court, because you used to always come for recruiting and stuff, so you definitely know.
Yeah,
but, no, those 2 years were like the hardest, just because like obviously how hard he was on me. Everybody like the perception, like it's daddy ball this, daddy ball that, blah blah blah. So like that time was hard, and then when I went to ASU, it was a little bit different because like I kind of like established myself a little bit more at Boise. A lot of my former teammates or future teammates that were at ASU, like I grew up playing them in high school. Like a lot of them were from Southern California. So going there to play with my dad though was, it was amazing. I mean, he was super aggressive as a play caller. I mean, we probably called cover one probably about like 70% of the game, like because we ended up having like it was me and then we had these two corners go to the NFL, and he was like, "Oh, you guys are such great DBs, I'm gonna go play man all day." And so like that's what we used to do. Like even in high school, we used to play cover zero the whole game, like the whole game we're playing cover zero, and like but it was good though because it's like he used to tell us like there's never going to be like a college coach or like an NFL scout coming and saying, you know what, I'm looking for a really good zone safety. Like they're not looking for that. They want to see a good man safety. They want to see a good man corner. They don't want to see those is just
on the line, mano y mano, dude. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if we could just like sell out for the run and just leave you guys on islands, like I'm sure that's every D coordinator's nightmare. I mean, not a dream, but playing with him though was amazing. I mean, and then I had my twins. That was also like, to be honest, like another like part in that as well, along with like my injuries and stuff, like as far as like why I transfer, like kind of just more so looking for like a fresh start, family, more so on that path. But I mean, it was amazing. And then honestly, just that like the Pac-12 wasn't even big of a difference as Mountain West. Like I'll say the biggest difference was the tight ends were game changers. Like that was probably like skill wise they were good. O-line definitely bigger, but like the tight ends, I mean, God damn, like every team had one. Like Oregon State, Stanford. Utah had like 3 tight ends. I think all go to the NFL, or like one of them is about to go to the NFL. Like those dudes were legit. And as a safety, like I'm sure Winston knows this. Like a great tight end is extremely hard because usually they're too big for the safeties and too fast for the linebackers. Yeah. And so it's like you're in this weird predicament of like, damn, how do we handle this dude?
Yeah. So, but definitely pose some challenges, man.
Yeah, no, it sucks, especially when they're like, there's this one Stanford tight end. I can't remember his name, but I know he transferred to Georgia. I remember he caught a seam, and I'm in the post. I remember he cut across the field like he was 5'9", 160, like the dude, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, no, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's tight ends, man. Those guys are different monsters, right? Like our guy Riley over here. It's like they just pose different threats. Can beat you vertically, can pose a threat physically to you in the run game. I mean, there's all sorts of things that, we got to deal with old Riddle and Riley over here, He
had some good battles with the tight ends, so it was always good fun.
Yeah, me and John used to have some good battles. All of them, sure.
DP, you're in the coaching world, man. I mean, what's the goals, dude? I mean, what do you got? You're obviously on the offensive side of the ball, and what are you looking to do in the coaching world? Are you aspiring to be an NFL coach, a college coach? I mean, kind of fill us in on your journey and what you're aspiring to do.
Yeah, I mean, if it was my choice, I would love, honestly, to stay in the NFL forever. I mean, I just like for someone like me, like I know, like in college, like I could be good, obviously, just because like I'm a good recruiter. Recruiting is obviously the almost essential piece, especially with NIL and just how it all is now. So like I know me being young and like that relatability factor would be good for me, but I mean, man, I'm all about ball, and like the NFL, like it's all about ball. Like ain't no compliance, ain't no administration, ain't no academics, it's just football all day, every day, and I absolutely love it. And like my biggest thing, like I just want to learn 24/7. Like that's all I wanted. Like being on the offense this year has been like a tremendous blessing. Like because I had so many questions coming into this that I've already gotten answers, and then I've also like gotten answers to like problems that I didn't even know like could potentially pop up. Like when we're talking in game planning, like on the offensive side, and like they're talking about like, oh, well, like the defense does this, it will like present a problem, or if they do that, and I'm like, damn, really? Like I know, like to me, like that's just like simple defense, but like it's an offense, like maybe it like changes like the declaration on like a run play, or like changes the protection and something. So like just learning as much as possible, like that's really all I'm focused on. Like yes, I want to go up, yes, I want to climb the ranks or whatever, but I'm only gonna do that if I learn, and like I have to be where my feet are right now. Like I got to learn all this right now. I got to obviously being engaged and connecting with the players is obviously the biggest thing. Like I'm a firm believer, like you can't get the most out of a player until you get the most out of a person. Cause like you all know, like if you don't got no relationship with the person, but you're trying to coach the player, like he's not going to hear any of that. But if you like got like real like brotherly love, or like a fatherly like love or whatever, like it's totally different. Cause like now that dude's looking at you like, I mean, we've all had coaches like that. Like I'm pretty sure everybody's favorite coach everybody's favorite coach is usually the one that they have the best relationship with. And so that's honestly a big part of me. That's like a huge reason why I got into coaching as well. Like just that relationship piece part of it. So really just doing my job and just learning 24/7, never being complacent.
True, right.
It'll take care of the rest.
Does that sound like something that, it obviously for DP, it started at an earlier age because he's a football guy growing up, but it sounds a lot like the stuff, that's been preached here in the halls of Boise State for a long time, right?
Oh, I was going to say I must have not had good coaches because no. It totally resonates. Obviously on a little bit different level, but I think there's a good balance with coaches between respect and that camaraderie, right? Like
absolutely,
you got to know they have your back, but you also have to respect what they're telling you and buy into that bigger program. I'm blocking on this play. I don't want to block, but yeah, I'm blocking for this run play. Like, I'm doing these things that like are for the greater good and ultimately sacrificing, not sacrificing, but like my role for this play is this, and the next play might be the touchdown. So do those things. And DP, that you said it well, man, like the coaches that can bridge that gap and really speak to you on a human level, not as a player coach, those are the people that you go to bat for and you put your all out on the line for.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. And Rid did the same thing. Like when I came in, it was like there were coaches that would get on you, especially in high school, that would get on you and you just kind of went over your head because they're just sitting there yelling at you. You don't know them that well. But then when you build that foundation and that relationship, like if Rid told me to do something, I knew it was for my best interest. It wasn't for him to just get on me. So it was like, that's when you start listening. And then when I became like older through the ranks and became a team captain, like I took that same mindset and was like, if I'm gonna hold my boys accountable, I want to make sure they know that I'm trying to do what's best for them and not just be a guy getting on them. So that like relational leadership is kind of what I called it. It's huge when it comes to it.
I want to make sure that you guys know I wasn't looking for that.
Nah, he teed that.
My point was more like literally from probably the first team meeting you sat in as a freshman.
Yeah.
Like that's what we talked about. Like, hey, let's start building relationships together, and then we can work the other stuff and be part of the student of the game, the FBI, like all that stuff. And it carries over and you see the results.
Absolutely.
And Ashton Genty sure is like a generational talent, right? But he's more than that. And that's what maximizes the other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And gives him the opportunity to go where he's going.
And I'll jump to Winston next. I mean, like Winston was the person my parents handed me off to when I got out here. So it was like
I remember over there in the dorms, lower level, that coming through that lobby area.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
They were like,
I remember
good?
Pop.
I'm good, man. And it was like, like that relationship started right there, and you were player personnel, and that whole class was, I mean, in the 6 years I was there, one of the like closest people I've been with, and like kind of had the standard and tried to continue to build on the foundation that was made by guys like Tyler. And so, and you kind of instilled that in us and built that relationship to where if someone was messing up, like you knew that you could go talk to them because you already had that foundation with us. So it was pretty sweet.
No, I love it. And DP, dude, you're on it, man. As far as being like, you know, on the young coach coming up, like just where you're at and your perspective and understanding that leadership and really starts with the relationships, man. Like good for you, right? Because I think guys like Coach Riddle and I, in our progression of coaching and leadership, like we learned those type of things a lot later, and you're so young and learning like what it really means to impact guys and how to go about that effective leadership is big time, man, because just hearing you and where you're at and your mentality, like that's going to win every time, bro, is building that relationship. And I talk about it, Tyler, like Coach Pete, like there'd be some things that if Coach Pete told us to do, we would just do it and we wouldn't question it, because like what you just said, Riley, is like, you know, this guy has the best interest for you and he's developed that, right? Like he's taken the time to like get to the level where you're really feeling like this dude cares about me as a person, not just football, but as a person. And then like, how powerful is that when he tells you like, hey, we got to do X, we got to do Y, I want you guys to do Z. And we're just looking at each other like, what you got next? Like, we're down to do whatever you tell us. And that's that buy-in and that relationship. Like, watch out when you get 110 guys buying in to what the leader is saying and what the environment he's bringing. And I think that's something that like Coach Danielson's got brewing now. And I don't want to get too going into that, because I will also say we're week 6 in the season. We got a long ways to go, but the noise that you hear, the buzz that you hear, it's belief. It's this belief in the leadership. It's belief in what this guy's talking about, and the buy-in,
belief in teammates, belief in,
and it's not a joke, man. Like if Coach D says, "Hey guys, I need you to go all 110 of you guys to go walk down Boise Broadway Avenue," I'm guessing there's going to be 110 Broncos walking down Broadway Avenue for whatever he said the reason is, right?
Yeah.
And that's the next level of like leadership, because they're not questioning why. They're saying there's a reason, we believe in him. And I can't emphasize what you've said enough already, DP, because you're young and you already are on it, bro. And I congratulate you on the path that you're going down, and you're going to kill it, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. And like, just like literally, like to your point, like Coach D, like I remember when it was my sophomore year when he came as a GA. And I remember like when he came in, you know, Coach D, like he's super high energy, fiery, just up all the time, like always on good. I remember like, you know, he got in during like the wintertime season, like it's cold. I'm still adjusting to the cold from California. Like it's still like my first year, my first winter. So like during those workouts, I remember he would just be on 10, like all the time. I'm like, man, like what's up with this dude? Like, why is he always like, but then eventually like you realize like, man, that's just Coach D. And then like you love him so much for that, because you're like, man, like he's just authentically being himself. And like he would always ask questions about like how you're like everything. Every time you talk to him, it was always off the field. Like, and that was like, even when he was a GA, like obviously he's a head coach now, but like, man, he started this like, what was this, like 8 years ago? Like he'd been like put in like this work to kind of like put him in position where he is now. And like, that's why like the players went to bat for him last year and everything like that, because like, man, he cares about you so much as a person that, like I said, like now when it's time to put your player hat on, like, man, you'll run through a brick wall for that dude, because, you know, at the end of the day, like football or not, this dude loves me. And like, it's huge, especially like just with how like everything is now and today.
No doubt. You going to go to the game on Friday?
Yeah, I should. I think I might have to do something. So like I'm kind of sick right now, because I was definitely planning on going, but I think
we'll plan on just seeing DP pop out for a minute or two.
Yeah, I plan on seeing the team either the night before, or like the morning before the game. But I definitely plan on seeing everybody there this week for sure. So I'm gonna try to make it work somehow.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Right on, man.
DP, I think we're gonna cut you loose so you can go back to little game prep for a big one this weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, man. I miss you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah, we love you. We'll see you next weekend at some point.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I'll for sure be seeing you guys soon.
Proud of you, man.
All
Keep
right,
doing your thing, dude, and keep impacting those Raiders out there,
No
dude.
doubt. No
I got
doubt.
you. Appreciate you
Say
guys.
hello to the rest of the Broncos out there.
I
And,
got
and
you.
say hello to Pops, too.
Oh yeah, I will. I got you.
All right, man.
I'll see you guys.
Bye.
So
Man.
talking about DP and kind of what he's doing, can it kind of take us what you've been doing since you've been done playing over at Boise?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not with the Raiders. I'm not. I don't know if you guys realize that, but I'm here with you guys.
He does have the best fit that we've seen.
I'll throw it on, you know.
Yeah,
Nice. I don't know where that's from. but I need it. I need it. I need
Shields
it.
action
definitely
here,
not
huh?
daily.
Shields. You gotta appreciate
Shields.
that when you get some good Bronco gear out here.
Setup.
Watch
No
out,
doubt.
dude. There need to be a Shield sponsor right there, so you got to watch out with the,
yeah.
with the
Coming.
hype.
No,
Just
we
joking.
like the Jacksons.
Maybe
We're
we
gonna
can get
keep the
matching
Jacksons
bombers.
going
I'll
over here.
take it.
No, I've been good, man. I'm here in Boise. Obviously, being from here has been easy. My dad, and my stepmom still live here, so family's all here still. Working med device sales. Been in that for 6, 7, 8 years, something like that now. So, yeah, man, life's funny. I mean, it's funny listening to yourself, DP, this younger, newer generation just coming out, and how fast that time goes. I mean, it's 13, 14, 15 years, bro, since we were there. Like,
life goes quick.
It goes
Honestly,
fast.
even for me, it doesn't seem like it's that long since I watched you guys play.
Yeah. Wow.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did see a couple of questions there. Yeah, we got Kellen for mayor. Did Winston ever have to cover Tyler in practice? Who won that one-on-one battle? We've got
let
some
me tell
stories
you
here.
this.
Let's have this
waiting
out
for
right
that.
here,
All right.
right now.
All right, I'll tell you. All I know is this: I cannot
There's
hang
two versions to
with
this
any
story.
of-
Let's
I
make
cannot
sure we
hang
get
with
this right.
any of these wide receivers. Let me let's just throw out what I had to deal with from a defensive perspective. Austin Pettis, Tyler Shoemaker, Titus Young. The list keeps going. Mitch Burrows. We're talking about Chris Potter. The
Kirby Moore.
Kirby
Watch
Moore.
out,
The
bro.
number of wide
We had
receivers
some
and the
dogs.
talent that I had to deal with on the defensive side was one that I did not want to deal with, and I was never a man coverage guy. So if Coach,
It's like, hey, if we're calling man, send me.
yeah, exactly. So if Coach Wilcox or Coach Kikowski put us in a little zone, maybe cover 3, a little buzz action where I could at least try to buzz through number 2 or reroute number 2. And I so happen to have these type of interactions with one of my best friends, like my guy, Tyler Shoemaker, where at least I'm trying to buzz through number 2, and that's where Tyler's at. And I'm going to try to let him know, because I can't cover him mano-a-mano, it's zone, and I'm going to try to jack him up coming off the line. That's about the extent of our battles. I wasn't covering anybody, but zone coverage, I'll put my face in anybody's chest, to be honest.
All right, like I said, 2 sides to every story, and I'll give Winston the credit, right? Like, so Winston came in, it'd be my redshirt sophomore year, it'd be his junior year. And as an offense, like you said, we had some dudes. We had gotten accustomed to the guys that we had on defense, right? We had the Jerron Johnson, the George Iloka, Jamar Taylor, right? Like all these dudes. We kind of knew how everybody played. And then all of a sudden there's a new face. We're at spring ball, and I see this guy, and I'm like, all right, he's kind of husky, I'll say. He's
gonna go husky down on me.
Kind of husky, but like this dude's supposed to be some baller, like we'll see.
Yeah.
And he
Scuffy.
called it, Jimmy just described it perfect. Buzz flat, little zone coverage, and all I have is like a little seam with a little bender to the middle. Easy, like reading the defense going into it. This is an easy big catch, about to be 30-yard gain. Maybe a touchdown if he gets a little squirrely here. I take off the line, and as I go, I think around Winston, there was no around Winston. It was all of Winston in my chest, and I tumble like 4 yards towards the sideline. No idea what happens. Play gets blown up. Come back to the huddle, and Coach Pease was my receivers coach at the time, and he comes over and he goes, "We weren't expecting him to do that." And I'm like, "No shit. He doesn't run through the number 2 receiver that often." He goes, "Yeah, you got to play that guy a little different." So that was my first introduction to Winston. There's a couple of those battles, but yeah, when he came downhill, it was not a lot of fun stopping that train.
No shot.
Kid, we had our battles, man, and those battles on the field, ultimately turned into like best friendship relationship off the field, and
absolutely
that was like the cool part about our era. And Riley, you experienced something very similar because I was a part of your era, but we were at each other's throats, like a couple of these wide receivers. And I remember Coach Chris Peterson, you know, like we had red ball or pace, we called it. And, you know, it was like a certain tempo that you were supposed to play with, right? And
supposed to.
Yeah, tag tempo, thud, rap, whatever the tempo may have been. It didn't really resonate with me as much because there was only one tempo that I played with, whether it was practice or the game. And I think
full speed.
Coach Pete used to yell at me because I used to try to run over Doug Martin, and Coach Pete would be like, he's going to cut you. He's going to cut you. You can't do that. And I'm like, Coach, tell him to cut me. Like, this is football, right? Like, I don't care if it's pace or team or it doesn't matter what the period is. Like, let's play ball.
We've all seen what happens when running backs try and cut Winston.
Well, Fresno State, I appreciate that. But the point is, man, is we were really competitive, and we had this competitive nature on the field of literally like there was no one-on-ones and you like shake the other dude's hand or love him up. Yeah. There was none of that. So as a coach, when I saw some of that, I was a little bit like, whoa, what's going on here? Because I used to want to kill Tyler Shoemaker, Austin Pettis, Titus Young. I used to want to destroy these guys in practice, but we had this bond that then we're going to go get after it after practice in a different way and have some fun there too, right? So there was an unmatched.
It was all good till once you got in the locker room.
Yeah,
it was not all
good. Over, man.
It was not all good.
That blue, that indoor, that practice field on that grass. I mean, it was dude.
But that's a special. That's a special type of team.
Yeah,
and that's why you guys had the successes you had.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to have those things where you can be that competitive on the field and not let it bleed off the field.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I truly, I think I've said this maybe on here before, but the hardest, you know, competitive situations I was in were all at practice.
Yeah.
It was not games. It was not games at all. I mean, like, yeah, there were some games and we took our 3 losses or whatever, but like, that was humble brag. Humble brag. No big deal. Those were not the tough ones. Like the tough ones were the red ball, into 7-on, into team, inside run, team, inside, you know what I mean? Like the 2.5 hour practice where you're going against that nutbag every freaking play and he's coming downhill, or you got Jason Robinson who you lock eyes with on a little bubble screen and he's not going around you. He's going through you. And I'm going to cut your ass because I'm not getting run over and I might get yelled at by Coach Beak, and that's fine. I'll take a yelling, but I'm not going to get run over.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to do that. So there's those situations where you have to just say, damn, this is going to be hard and it's probably not the right thing, but I'm going to do this because this is football, to Winston's point. But yeah, dude, it was, you know, different times and you experienced it. I mean, I honestly, watching the guys play now, they're starting to get that back, right? Like it's that same kind of environment. You see the intensity, the passion, the having fun again, like, right? Like that is so apparent to me in this last year and a little bit. It's just, dude, these guys are having fun again. And it is so fun to see from the Broncos. And
it's awesome.
At the end of the day, it's a game, dude. Like we're out here, we're doing the most fun thing that any of us wanted to do from, you know, little 8th, 9th grade, you know, little kid, 8th, 9th grade, all through high school. And you think this might be a reality. And then you get here and you're doing it. Like this is the pinnacle, like for a lot of dudes. And, you know, obviously there's the NFL and like that is a whole different level. We can, you know, talk about that. That's a whole different.
Well, you know, that actually brings up a good point though. You're a local guy. You know, just talk about like, you know, kind of growing up as a local guy and having your chance to play on the Blue. Because I'm sure a lot of people watching are local.
Tremendous. I mean, like what a cool experience. I may have said this before, but like in high school, I used to say, I'm not going to Boise State. There's no way, like, to hometown, like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to go to a big school, this and that, and this and that. And then the more I was around, I think the first time I ever went to a Bronco game, I was in eighth grade, and my buddy Todd brought me, and we're sitting up in like section 120, and Boise State, like that starts happening.
So it got me.
And I was like, what? This is it? Like, this is Boise State football? Like the blue field, the whole thing. I was locked in. And so even thinking I was too big to even stay home, I was like, no. And then to be able to come here, walk on, have the experience, go through what we went through, and just, oh my gosh, it's so different. And I just hope, we've talked about it a few times, like young people watching, if you're a high school player and you want to go to the next level, like whatever that is, pursue it. Like at whatever level you end up going to, just go pursue it, because you will regret if you don't. And it's such a short time span in your life. Like, go enjoy it, go have fun, experience it. Hopefully you're a Bronco.
Hey, real quick, has your record been broken, or is that still intact, or what?
Single season, bro. It's still there.
Okay, wait, it's still
That's
intact.
gonna be a tough one to break.
All right, so hey, okay, real quick, because you're like my best friend, but I wanted to make sure. So,
appreciate it.
So wait, where we got single season touchdown
reception.
How many?
16.
Come on, dude. Shout out to my man T Shoe, right?
I told the guys when I left.
So, hey,
16,
real quick,
16's a tough number now.
That's
all right. So real quick, let me ask you: all 16 from Kellen Moore?
Yeah, senior year. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, like,
oh no,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
no trick plays. No.
Okay, so real quick,
I don't think so.
That's a legit question.
Okay,
That
no,
is a
but
good question,
I do want to
actually,
bring this up though, because a lot of people talk about like, Ashton, Heisman, and like,
bro, he's got 16 in like 4 games.
Boise
like,
State play him in the third quarter, the fourth quarter? Hey, I'm just telling you right now that I feel a lot of pride and passion about our time, right? There's a lot of times that I was sitting next to Jerron Johnson, Billy Wynn, George Iloka in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter. Now, difference is, like, I remember some things or not, but Mike Coughlin played a lot of ball for us. Like,
backup quarterback got an NFL tryout.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I want to get to is, like, there was a lot of times, even Kellen in his Heisman run,
was not out there,
that did not play. So for Bronco Nation and for everybody that says, BSU coaching staff or whatever, like, hey, the job is to win the game. I wish Bedell was here, because he'd probably really go ham on this. But the idea is, you got to keep these guys healthy. You got to win games. And this is no different than Kellen Moore throwing, being up 30-40 points in the third quarter and shutting it down, right? Like,
or he might go out there for a series and hand it off,
right? Whatever. But I mean, that was my point. Like, maybe not all those touchdowns that you caught were from Kellen, because there might have been some late in the game. But back to the same point, you were probably not playing the first quarter as well.
Probably standing over there with Kellen.
Yeah, that year we were probably not on the field too often, not together.
Yeah,
but I don't think there was that year. No, I don't think there was.
Let's talk about that. The reality of getting the job done. Playing guys for an accolade, a personal accolade, versus winning the task at hand and all that. We've already been on this.
No, not tonight, but I've mentioned it a little bit over the time. Once you know the game is over, like, I mean, you have to know it's over. And there might even be maybe a series you're kind of on the sideline, like, all right, these guys need to take care of business, so we don't have to put anybody back in.
Yeah.
But once you get through that point and the game is over, like, you are not putting somebody back in the game. No. Because there would never be a worse feeling as a coach.
Not in the best interest for the player, not in the best interest for the team. Like,
no,
we're moving on to the big picture, right? Yeah. Like, we got a goal, Mountain West Championship, bowl game, all those type of things. And I think that sometimes that outside noise, like, it's pretty understood inside, and like what we're trying to accomplish, but like everybody wants more.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the undefeated. Everybody wants like, do we all support guys for a Heisman? Heck yeah. But we want to get through the next 6 games, and we want the Mountain West Championship.
That should happen within the course of what you're doing,
right?
Not because you left him out there for.
And I think the guys, and I think
450 yards against.
I think guys like Kellen and guys like Ashton would like really. It doesn't phase them. It's like it's about the team, and if this mentality, if this structure of how we're going about it leads to me winning that, then that's perfect. But that's not where those guys were at. That's not where the Broncos are at, coaching staff. And it's just interesting to think about, what Bronco Nation wants versus what the team needs and what the individual needs, right?
Like I get it. It's a great story right now.
Yeah.
And it's fun to be involved in.
Yeah.
And it's cool for like I played with that dude. And but you're also being protective of him, right? Because if they told him to keep going out there, it's not like he's a guy like, I'm good.
No, he's going to go out there.
He's going to go out there.
Yeah.
And I think back to all the great running backs we've had here. I mean, more so than any other position. There's only so many miles on the tire tread.
Yeah.
And so, hey, let's absolutely maximize what we need from him. But once we've hit that point, like let's get him the next.
Got to be safe and go long term here.
Yeah.
Nate, you got a question for us? Come on in.
Come on, man. Nate, come on. Hey, come on, Nate. What do you got, man?
Right. So in honor of this week, potentially, unless if they join us in the Pac-12, of this being the last time we'll play UNLV as a conference mate on the road, what is your best Vegas story?
Oh, yeah.
Best Vegas story had nothing to do with playing UNLV.
Yeah, those are separate stories, unfortunately.
Mine might happen this weekend.
The best Vegas story is yet to be told, but I will tell you there was about 2009, 2010. Can't remember what year. I was only here for 2 years, but a crew of us did hop in the car and head down to Vegas and made that drive. I think it's 9-10 hours from here. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say in that 9 range. And a couple of us Broncos can't even remember if it was a spring break, a random weekend on a bye week.
I think that was
But we hopped in the old Altima and headed down south to Vegas. And
that sounds like your spring break.
Hey, it's being able to do those things and play at an elite level and have fun. And I will never, I'll never be shy to talk about it. My college experience was about a whole lot of fun, and it was a whole lot of fun on the field and a whole lot of fun off the field. And I think that that's one of the most things I appreciated about my time as a Broncos. We really knew how to get after it. And in all aspects of life,
in all phases,
Yeah,
it was sweet. We did the same trip with like Matt Griffin, and we had like 3 cars just caravanning all the way down.
There we go.
And we were bombing because you're going through the desert forever. And right before you get to Vegas, there's just a cop sitting outside, pulls us over. I'm like, what a shitty way to start the weekend. And I'm wearing a Boise State hoodie. He's like, you come from Boise State? I was like, yeah, we got some time off football. Just sprinkle that in there.
Sprinkle the football in there. You don't know what direction this is going to go.
And he was like, go Broncos. Have a good weekend.
There we go. There we go.
Tell the Halloween story with Coach Pete.
Oh, Halloween. Come on, BJ. Where did you hear that from? Who might have told you that? Well, the Halloween story. I mean, I think the Halloween story goes a little bit something like we had an early game. It was Halloween and we had fun. And then we had a meeting the next day. And the point is everybody the thing that people need to understand is we showed up to meetings. We showed up to workouts. We showed up to the lift. And I'll throw it out there. Like, there was a different mentality of how we showed up. And it wasn't just we show up to get by. Like
show up to work.
Like I question and challenge every single Boise State Bronco to this day, and I've spoke to a couple of the Bronco classes along the way of, how many guys are wearing a weight vest when we run decks? Well, I can tell you there wasn't enough weight vests for our class and our generation, where if there was 30 weight vests, we had 30 players in weight vests running the decks. I still think I would challenge the current Broncos to get to that phase. But what I'm saying is we got after it in workouts and we got after it off the field, and Halloween is no different. So when you go and explore a good night with your boys after a good win, you're going to have a great time, and you're going to come in and everybody is going to be in attendance. Right, Shu? Everybody's going to be in attendance. Yep. We're all going to be there, but maybe we had a long night while we're sitting there in that team meeting.
There might have been some trash cans on the sidelines.
Maybe the training staff and maybe the coaching staff thought we weren't going to attack the run, the Broncos shuttles the next day. But let me tell you, that team was built different, as we would say these days, and we attacked that thing, and nobody was leaning over those trash cans. So,
there was some people leaning. there was some leaning.
There was
some leaning.
Well, we all got done with
we finished the run.
No, we finished the runs. That's what I'm saying.
But there was some leaning.
That's all it is, BJ.
Stone, did you ever play UNLV?
That was the PG version.
UNLV?
Yeah. Did you?
Was that
That wasn't right. That was
no, I don't think I ever played UNLV.
Okay, so I actually do have a UNLV story.
Okay, what do you got?
Unrelated to Vegas and all the other shenanigans, but so we played UNLV my senior year. We go down, in the stadium. We had just played there the year before. Was it Utah? Yeah, Utah in our bowl game.
Senior year. Yeah,
yep.
So that was a good matchup.
Yep. Good game, right? So go down. I mean, I think DP said it, like, not necessarily going to be like our toughest game of the year, but we went in there and traveling on the road, it's always SWAT team mentality. Get in, get out, get it done. Go in. At the time, I was leading the nation in touchdown receptions.
Nice.
I was feeling good about it.
You're the dude. You're the dude in the
catching
country.
some touchdowns, you know what I mean? And I go, and it's first or second quarter, first half for sure. And I think it was climb, honestly. Nice little crosser, easy touchdown, easy, drop that bitch. Like, dropped it, did the whole look at the hand.
Like what's going on?
No way, I just dropped that. And I got a heckler. I got a guy in the stands right behind our bench. I'm sitting there, RP's sitting there, he's talking, you gotta look at it. Yeah, I know, I'm fucking looking in. I'm gonna catch it. Yeah. Thank you. And I get this guy, 89. You must not know how to catch. And, all right. And he just keeps jawing. And I'm like, all right, I'm fine. Go out. We had like a punt or something. We come back and he's like, see 89, if you would have caught that. And I lost it. I'm like, turn around, say whatever I need to say.
You engaged.
I engaged.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that. Right. Probably not the best, I engaged, say something back. And he's like, we'll see, you got nothing. It was semi-competitive at halftime. Come back out, end up scoring 2 in the second half. Caught another little climb, post route down the seam, came back, looked at him, came back, and then there was a tip ball. It's like Kellen threw I think it was just like a little sit spider concept in the end zone. Linebacker tipped it, and I kind of made a diving catch, caught it, came back, and I said, check the stats. Who's leading the nation? Who has the most touchdown catches, sir? Yeah. That guy was quiet the rest of the game. Yeah. We blew him out, but that was truly, I was hot.
I would guess the old UNLV stadium, a little bit different environment against the Rebels than probably this week.
Oh yeah.
The old one, like you could go
Sam Boyd.
You could probably walk in and have a conversation with just about anybody in the stadium.
Yeah.
Other than the Bronco section was usually kind of packed, and a little bit loud, but the rest of the stadium, like you could have walked over and talked to somebody in row 30.
I'm trying to think.
This week, I'm guessing that might be a little different.
Big stadium, but they'll at least get that lower level totally packed, right?
Hey, they packed out they sold out the recruiting section, so they're ready to go.
Shots fired? Okay.
No.
No,
but even the championship game, it was like the whole lower level was
right.
Felt, I mean, it's a big stadium.
So like, yeah, let me ask you, like, so I'm a big atmosphere guy. Like my whole dream goals were based off of like playing in front of thousands of fans. Like that was my goal, right?
Yeah,
so like
Collins in the background.
When I heard that Boise State, like you were talking about, and it was only 30,000 at the time. But that 30,000 was loud
on top of you. So
like I've played in certain arenas, certain facilities, certain stadiums, and it's funny. Even in my Canadian football experience, like sometimes you get that. Like in Montreal, we played at McGill University. McGill University only holds about 30,000. So when there's 30,000, it feels really, really good.
Yeah.
Now compared to playing at the Blue Jays place for Toronto, now you're talking about like, hey, 12,000 fans in a huge dome, right?
Right.
So like just that perspective, right? Like how is that playing in a big new stadium, but only like, hey, that lower level? Do you feel good as a player still? Do you even recognize that? Because for me, I'm fueling off the fans, man. I'm fueling off that 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000. And Boise State feels different than Virginia Tech, even at FedEx Stadium. That shit was rocking, but I'm not going to say Bronco Nation and 33 die-hard Boise State fans does not outdo 100K anywhere in the country. Shout out to Bronco Nation. Shout out to Boise State. Shout out to everybody that supports the boys, because let me tell you, I love you guys. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm not messing around, man. I'm not. There is something special about the blue. There's something special about the atmosphere. There's something special about Bronco Nation. And you can have 37,000 sold out all 6 games. But I'm telling you, you can go to a place that has 100K and it doesn't even feel close.
I went to my first NFL game in, I can't tell you how long, this weekend. We went to the Cowboys game for the bowl game that never happened. But we're down in the basement and whatever, totally different. I don't even count that.
I was asleep. Slept through the whole game.
Well, I went upstairs and watched on TV because couldn't even see the field. But so I went to the Packers game this weekend, and Boise State's atmosphere was as good as that. And there are 90,000 people, and it's way more college atmosphere there than most places in the NFL. And they're chanting "Go Pack, go" and all that stuff. I'm just telling you, like the game day experience at Boise State, and I was telling our friends that we went with, like, is every bit as good as
Rid. That experience right there. I went from Boise State to preseason in Chicago for the Bears, and I was like, "What is this?" I'm like, this is weak.
NFL's,
and then you realize, okay, preseason, right? A little preseason, but then you keep going down the line, and it's like, do we have cheerleaders? No. Do we have college students? Do we have 5,000 students at this game? No, we don't. We have Chicago natives, like passionate fans. No, they're passionate. Not like Bronco Nation, not like the student section, not like the band. The band, the band is one of the most most underappreciated things in college football.
Bronco and
Boise State band. Shout out to you. You guys deserve it all, because that's what moves the needle, right? On a recruiting trip. The fans move the needle, the band moves the needle, the student section moves the needle, and we're top in the country, if that.
And I think the structure of the stadium too is so vertical.
Sits right on you, man. That Boise State.
It feels steep when you're on decks. Sure. But it's like, I think that's a big thing. Like you
it
feel
is, man.
On top of you. Like, we played Washington, and it was like supposed to be crazy field, and like I had a hot take where I was like, dude, Boise State.
What? So like 70-something thousand at Washington, right?
Yeah, way louder here.
Way
night
louder.
And day different. And it was like they were so high and far away that you didn't even feel their presence.
Good
So
spot,
it's
man.
like- it's
Good
a good
spot
spot.
at old Albertson Stadium.
Same, because it's so spread out. And it's Boise State's different,
surprising.
man.
Have we done the decimal deal here? Has that been a big part
I
of
am
what
now
we've done?
convinced
or-
after watching this weekend, and my wife too, because she went to the Seahawks game the week before, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, and then at the Packers, and they're throwing up the decibels, and she's like, that says more than the Seahawks, and it's not nearly as loud here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm
no
now
doubt.
convinced the decibel thing is total BS.
Oh,
Yeah, that ticker might just be on its own scale, right?
It's just hype.
It might just do what it wants to do,
Yeah.
but no. Shout out to Bronco Nation, Albertson Stadium. It's one of its own, and it's really
fully
special.
I fully expect UNLV to be dealing with as much crowd noise Friday night as
Oh,
Boise
yeah.
State.
Yeah.
I'll bet you there's as many Broncos going to UNLV as there are UNLV people. Which BJ got to mention, right? The Circa pregame 3 to 5:30 at the D. Sorry, it's at the D, not Circa, but same owners. Derek Stevens buying everybody in Bronco gear 2 drinks, which 2 drinks in Vegas used to cost you not much. Nowadays, that's probably worth it. Get in there and get your 2 free drinks.
Bar Canada, a little shout out there for old Canada, huh?
I see the maple leaf.
Sometimes, when I see a little Canada action, that sits well in my heart, I'm not going to lie, shout out to the CFL innovators. A lot of things that happen in the CFL get trickled down to the NFL, and a lot of people don't know. It was funny. I was watching like Hard Knocks this year, and I can't remember the players, the interaction, but there was a player on Hard Knocks that was telling his teammate, like, no, like this got invented in the CFL. And the teammate was like, what are you talking about, man? And the guy's like, no, I'm telling you, like, the CFL invented this. And it's funny because the CFL is older than the NFL, and a lot of rules that get developed in the CFL end up trickling down
And let's give
to
a
the South. And
shout out to the coach of the year in the CFL, RD. Ryan
RD, man, he was a coach of mine in Montreal for a year. And
RD,
dude, he's doing his thing, man.
still
Shout
doing
out to him for
it.
sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
As certainly one of the guys that got Boise State to where we are today. Really kind of got it rolling. That guy's one of the toughest SOBs I've ever met.
yeah.
Winston got a toughest one-on-one tackle you ever had to make, practice or game.
Ooh, toughest one-on-one tackle I've ever had to make,
We
practice
should
or
have
a
had
game.
DP on here when that question.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super loaded. I mean, I had to deal with a trio of running backs as a player, right? So you had Jeremy Avery, my roommate, which couldn't be more shifty than anybody in the country. You had DJ Harper, you had Doug Martin. So I had to deal with a plethora of running backs at the college phase in practice, and then from a opponent standpoint, I'm trying to think about right now. There was a lot of guys out there, right? I mean, there were some backs that we faced.
San Diego State, do you have
No, not San Diego State, but
In the NFL preseason.
I mean, there was all sorts of guys, right? I mean, the game, like as I'm trying to think about it right now, I mean, there's just so many guys that you had to battle against, and whether it was practice or a game, and it was one of those things that you had to show up, man, and whether it was a college level or professional level. But yeah, I've had experience from Boise to Chicago Bears to the Canadian Football League and Montreal Alouettes to deal with high caliber running backs. And I never want to have to go against those guys one-on-one. Because like I said earlier, I'm not a big man. I'm not a big man coverage guy, but Rid, like you said, if I got some hole help, if I got some high safety help, man, I'm going to play outside leverage and filter that right in. But what's funny is like that right there, like what you just said, you learn that year 4 in professional ball, that you don't have to be able to cover this guy by yourself, but you have to understand where your help is. And there's nothing wrong with playing to your help and understanding I'm outside leverage. If I filter him into the safety, I'm protected. And guess what? When it comes to man coverage, I want to be protected. So I want to make sure I knew where my help was at.
But it sometimes got to blow you guys away, whether you're the guy running the route or you're the guy covering or watching guy cover. You know, like guys that don't understand that, like how could you ever get beat to the outside when your help's inside?
Yeah.
Like just jump outside.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's easy and it's not easy at all.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
No doubt.
We're talking about like all pro guys that it happens to.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like you said earlier, you're setting them up.
Yes, manipulation.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to get that person, you're influencing that defender to do what you want them to do, right? And sometimes it's doing what you want to do right off the bat. So they jump to the opposite way, right? I mean, there's so many games within the game that you're playing on each individual play that people are going to mess up. And it's, you know, whether it's, oh, he went outside leverage, I need to get outside. Well, shit. All right. And I got to figure this out. Right. And, you know, it's like, there's going to be
game within the game. Like you said, I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah. There is so many one-on-one battles that just never go as planned.
Yeah.
And it's, you're good.
About recruiting Ashton.
Yeah.
And,
sure.
Said how cool that you recruited a potential high school.
Yeah, I mean, being involved in the recruitment. I mean, I think I've heard Rid talk about it, but it's interesting because it's the same exact process as when I got recruited here. Like Boise State does things different. We really recruit. If there's 10 position coach, all 10 position coach are really gonna recruit the tight end, the running back. Yeah, I got a lot of pride and passion for being the Boise State running back at the time that Ashton was getting recruited, and it was something that Coach Riddle brought to my office and brought to the O staff, and we looked at and we assessed and we went through the Boise State recruiting process as far as figuring out what's the best fit to bring somebody into this environment and this culture to succeed. And like, hey, how fortunate are we to be able to bring a guy like Ashton Genty in and then have the resources moving forward to like, hey, like Rid and I and Coach Plow, like, yeah, I mean, I'll be real. Like we had a significant part of that, but that's a small part of his development, a small part of the Bronco way. And that's something that Coach Danielson's take over and Coach Montgomery's take over. And like, we're all a part of that. And he's a big indication of like his own personal success. So like, yeah, man, like I think it's awesome that we collectively brought in a guy that is succeeding and doing well, but like we've done that with everybody. We do that with every single
George
guy
came in and did pretty well,
right? Like, yeah, we that's what we do here, right? And it doesn't really matter.
Even Shoe mentioned it. He was a walk on here, and look at the development he had. Riley came in as a quarterback, left as a all conference tight end type guy. And,
yeah,
I mean, it's all about identifying the right people, get them in here.
Yep.
Give them an opportunity,
and
then help them become the best they can be.
Yep.
Absolutely.
How can we help these dudes navigate
maximizing, right?
Maximizing their resources, freaking surrounding them to elevate them to be the best that they can be. And Boise is never, from Coach Pete to Coach Dirk. I mean, I played for Coach Calkins in Canada. It's for 5 weeks. It's the same message, right? It's the same development.
I forgot about that
earlier.
It's the same deal, right? Like, so no, there's no like secret recipe into recruiting Ashton, recruiting these guys. There's no secret recipe. Like, there's a Bronco way. There's a way we do things that's unique to us. And it doesn't matter if you're a former coach, a current coach. When you get inside that building, as a player, as a coach, you understand what that means, and it's unique. Not everybody gets to understand that, but we're all in it together. So I think Coach Montgomery knows and appreciates how Ashton got to be a Bronco. I think Ashton appreciates how he got to be a Bronco. That has everything to do with Coach Peterson, Coach Dirk Cutter, Coach Andy Avalos, Coach Dirk. I mean, it goes down the line. The foundation, the structure, the history. That's what got guys to be here. That's what got Shoemaker to be here. That's what got Riley to be here. That's what got Coach Riddle to be a part of this thing. That's what got me to be a player and a coach. It's bigger than any of us. It's bigger than one player. And I think that's what's special, right? I think that's what's special 100%. Is there's this low ego. We're in it for the blue and the orange. And like when you surround yourself with guys that I'm surrounded by at this table right now, watch out, man, because best interest for the Boise State Broncos. And when you put a group and a community together like that, that's why you have the success that these guys are showing.
I'm sure you guys feel it in your current careers. I know you definitely surrounded with a lot of Boise State guys. I know you have been through your career. You put enough guys that have been through the wars in there, you're going to be good doing anything. Like we could probably figure out a business if we sat around here a couple more hours and probably do okay.
No matter what, man.
A couple more rounds, I think we'd be all right. Yeah.
Especially, with Winston
already started. We used to talk about OKG, right? Our kind of guys.
Yeah.
And you guys can probably speak to it, as the coaching side from previous, Stephen Pete and Hawk and those guys. Yeah. But it truly is. There's a mold for a Boise State guy.
Yeah.
And you either fit in or you don't. And I think it speaks a lot to the coaches and yourself for bringing Ashton in. But like, what a cool thing for him and his character as an individual to say, money's cool and all that, but leaving a legacy, right? Like, doing it for the right reasons, like staying with the program that gave him the opportunity. Like, so cool for him. And so many guys have that.
I would say this, and I think this is fair, and don't mean to underestimate Ashton, but like we knew he was going to be good. Did we know he was going to be Heisman Trophy good? Like, I don't know if that's that wasn't even kind of on our radar,
right?
And I don't think it's on your radar when you recruit anybody. And maybe if you're at Alabama, maybe it is, but for us, it was like that guy will make us better,
100%.
And we knew that. We knew that 100%. We're pretty damn good already, and we knew he'd make us better. He got in here. He got in the right environment. He trusted the right people. He worked his ass off. He's got phenomenal coaches now. I mean, like, and it's not just Coach Montgomery, but having Dirk, Potter, Keene,
100%.
Matt Miller, Spencer.
Yeah,
the defensive coaches helping him out. All those guys, they got a phenomenal staff. They got a great thing going because they all believe in each other. They trust each other. And he's the face of it right now. And he's able to handle that load. And he's got to not only handle it, like he's excelling with it. But, I mean, man, it's just fun to watch.
No, absolutely, man. It's great. I think the support that BSU staff, university, and everybody surrounds the athletes, not just him, right? Like everybody, right? Is just it's really cool to see, right? It's really cool to see. And I understand that obviously, like Ashton is a guy that is in the limelight, but like I think for him and what I know about him is like, and when you hear him talk about his teammates, that's the freaking cool part is like let's talk about Mad Dog. Like, let's talk about how this dude is just freaking being a general out there and
getting us in the right place
and taking over an offense and a team and like being so behind the scenes with it. That's like he's doing things that like who even knows the impact that he has on a guy like Ashton.
Yep,
like as a leader, as a captain, as a quarterback. Like that stuff we haven't even tapped into that yet. We haven't even got down to like how the starting quarterback at Boise State is leading this top team in the country and like what the impact that guy's having. And that is like, whoa, pretty cool to start thinking about like, yeah, it's Ashton Genty and there's a lot of things going on with him, but even he will tell you, hey, it's my O-line, it's my tight ends, it's my quarterback. But we haven't heard a whole lot from the O-line. Cage Casey?
Yeah, get the baller.
Dude. Mad Dog Maddox? Dude, right? Like
Matt
we
Lauder.
haven't Matt Lauder?
Yeah.
Dude, right? Like there's receivers. I mean, there's guys that are out there that are making plays and it's going to be pretty cool, right? Right. What do we got?
I think Brandon's tired and wants to go to bed.
Brandon's tired, wants to go to bed.
And BJ put it up on the screen. So
Well, hey, either way, I think it's important to know that, like, guys like Mad Dog and guys like Coach D and all the other dudes, right? Like, Ashton's out there eating, man, and he is a freaking dude, and he is. Yeah. It's all about that guy, and you know what's cool is like it's not all about him. Like it's about his teammates, and it's
still
about
11
everything
on
else.
11 at the end of the day. Come
right?
on.
And
You know
that's,
what I mean?
that's the cool part, man, is like how much everybody's
we
involved.
all want Ashton to continue to do exactly what he's been doing.
Absolutely.
And if he does that, I think that stuff will take care of itself. But at the end of the year, if he wins the Heisman, that's really a team award.
Definitely a
100%.
team award.
I can't speak for every team or whatever, but I know for this team, 100% that's a team award.
No.
So
No doubt.
yeah. BJ did throw it up there.
We'll
Just
get
want to
into
get
it.
your predictions and
More predictions.
you know where we might find anybody that's in Vegas other than at
What's Vegas got going on?
D-
2.5?
the
Line, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Vegas.
2.5, 3. And what
Really?
happened there?
-3.
Yeah. -3 yesterday.
I like the Broncos.
Yeah.
You gotta hey, you gotta like the Broncos, right?
Oh yeah.
You gotta like the Broncos going down there being prepared. I'll go realistically coming off a bye week. How are we prepared coming off the bye week?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's a thing,
Fresh
right?
guys.
Is that
I
a
was gonna
thing?
say, a little
Like,
rest, a
that's
little
the thing.
recovery. Yeah.
How many of
They
these
got back at
how
it
many of these guys
Sunday.
let's just be real.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys got some money in their pocket now.
Oh, right.
NIL.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a different era. Guys are you know what guys are doing on their bye week? They're going on vacation.
Is it partying?
They're partying. They're going on vacay. They're visiting their moms, dads, girlfriends,
They're
whatever.
getting the massages. They're getting the treatments.
They're doing it right. Hopefully,
I think this was an abbreviated bye week.
Abbreviated bye week.
I believe they only had a day off.
Well, that's good. Well, all I'm saying is, how are you maximizing your bye week?
For sure.
How are you mentally focusing to going into a big week? And Coach D always says, hey, the next week's the biggest week because it's the next week.
Yeah.
And I believe it.
Couldn't
I
be
love
true.
it. And I think he's delivering the message that's going to keep those guys in the right mind frame to go down to Vegas and get after it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. UNLV,
Special teams.
yeah, I was gonna say UNLV, excellent on special teams. Ricky White, I think's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Blocked 3 punts already, returned 1 for a touchdown.
Yeah, he's a dude.
Got to take care of that guy. Got to win that stuff. I know it's been a big focus. I guess I don't know. I'm sure it has been.
Yeah.
And then turnovers. Those guys
Huge.
forced turnovers. I was watching part of the Oregon State game earlier tonight, and those guys, they take shots at the ball, not just I think they're tied for the lead in the country in interceptions. Is that accurate?
They are 13.
But I mean, I watched them, like guys going down and guys flying in and hammering the
peanut
ball.
punch.
Yeah. That's going to be a big focus, and I'm sure that's a big focus for Boise State. Like, let's take care of the ball.
Sure.
Let's be smart. Let's do things right. Their offense, I think, has been exciting for a couple years.
Since the new quarterback came in too, that was
Well, you
weird.
mentioned
That
it
guy
too
left,
earlier,
and then
Red,
it's
right? I
even
mean,
better.
this is going to be a lot of running, but this is going to be a quick
this game's
game.
gonna
It's going to go fast.
This game is going to go fast. Both teams are run oriented. There's not going to be a lot of stoppages of play.
Sure.
Yeah.
High completion percentage. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get up from your seat or you might miss a quarter.
Rid likes to get on me because I always say the keys are special teams,
turnover margin, third down, red zone. Every game I say
every key.
Yes, but in this game in particular, yes. But I do think a couple of those in this game
to be accurate.
But I think a couple of those might be even bigger than normal in this game. When you're talking turnover margin, I mean, they got 13 interceptions. Boise State has 1. And you look at the turnover margin, red zone too. I mean,
over the course of the year, those things usually equal out.
Well, I mean, Boise State would love to get a couple.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Boise State, when they win the turnover margin, 40-3, going back about the last 9 years.
I don't know if UNLV is going to throw it enough, really to pad the interception numbers. And most of their throws that I've seen are like downfield. They're not.
All right, Winston's
they're
back.
not the ones you kind of typically intercept.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be tougher, but.
Well, then take care of the ball. You know what I mean? On our side, it's like don't turn it over, right? So it's got to be the other side.
Or get sacks. Get sacks because
put them in long down situations.
Ball out.
Special teams obviously is going to be big. Just be sound.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the big play. Just make the right play, right? Like if if this team's going to come after you on special teams, then hey, protection's got to be good. We got to have our assignments on blocking. We got to have coverage good, right? Like
if you want to minimize their ability to make plays on special teams, like when you have to punt, make it 4th and 4 from the plus 48.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm big on.
Then you're not probably going to see punt block.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm big on like the mentality, the moment, the hype, right?
Yeah, the atmosphere. Big atmosphere guy.
Well, no, I'm a big atmosphere guy, but like I go back to like, just being real, like, right, Riley, like, when in your experience, what was 5 years here? 6. What was the highest you were ranked? Were you guys ranked?
Yeah.
What? No, I'm being real. Like
18, 18, we were way up there.
Yeah, no, I guess what I'm saying is like, like,
no digs.
Yeah,
bro.
you guys.
No digs. There's no digs here. What I'm saying is like, how much did we care? We didn't.
What?
About the rankings?
Oh, no, but it was nice.
It was nice, but I'm saying it wasn't a thing.
It's not like
no, we didn't go into it thinking we're the number 3 team.
Hey, this week we're number 17.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like
that provides them a little chip, right? Like, all right, well, we took a week off and we dropped. Fine. See what we do this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the mentality they should have.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's different, right? Like we have not been ranked. We have not been there in the last several years, right? So like for me as a former player, as a guy that cares about like the mentality and how to push forward, it's like, hey, like I'm all about that. Like I'm all about owning where we're at. I'm all about owning like, yeah, heck yeah, we're ranked. Heck yeah. Like, but that's never been about what we are.
Yeah. Sure.
So I go to how are we handling that? Right. Everything I see right in this, in Bronco Nation is we're 15, we're 17, we're now. And I go, oh, we were 2, 3, 4, 5. Never was a thing. And now it's amplified. I love it. How are the guys handling that? Right. How are we going about that? How are we right? Yeah. Like that's it. Like, hopefully all good because that's a factor. That's a factor in my mind on continuing to excel is like blocking out the noise.
Yeah.
And BSU is back on the map. It's never been about the noise. So can we keep pushing forward, go attack a UNLV and handle business? Because this game on Friday is nothing more than handling the business.
SWAT team
nothing more than handling the business.
Let's go.
Being a road warrior, SWAT team mentality, and going and knocking it out. Right. But you start feeling the buzz. You start feeling the Heisman. You start feeling all these things. Hey, are we going to embrace that and roll? We're going to get caught up in that, or what is that, right?
35-14.
I think we're in a good position to go attack that thing and get after
42-24.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was.
I can tell.
Exactly right here.
I'm all about it.
Apparently have a good one. What's the type song?
Hype song? I can tell you this. Like the only thing I can tell you right now is, what was the G-Eazy? Is a little crazy. Jerron Johnson used to play it on repeat, and I think a little G-Eazy crazy.
Not G-Eazy. Jeezy the Snowman.
I don't know, but
Jeezy.
Yeah, we had some jams back in the day, but I'll let you. I was never a big artist. I never knew the name.
I loved "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins.
Oh, you know it,
that
baby.
was my hype song personally. Nobody else ever liked that song.
Get you right.
Well, hey, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate you giving up your evening to come do this.
Happy to do it.
Share with.
I'll get him right.
We'll run through a brick wall.
There's no question.
I'll end up on the field somehow.
Might get a sack.
We got
He's got a COVID year.
Sniffing salts for the kid. There's always some young players that want to put a couple extra sniffing salts in a Gatorade bottle. Shake it up real, like my man Dan Paul. Hey, shoot, real quick, man, on the way out, dude. Like a guy like Dan Paul, Hammer represents the Boise State Broncos. Like, what is a guy, man? Just to finish this thing out, man. What is a guy like Dan Paul? His family was here not too long ago.
Yeah. Scott and Peggy, shout out.
None of us are bigger than Dan Paul. None of us are bigger than his story. None of us are bigger than the Dan Paul hammer, which, man, Coach Harsin, man, I got a lot of love for that dude simply for the fact that he took the recognition and wanted to make that hammer be the Dan Paul hammer. Absolutely. And that is big shout out to Coach Harsin. And, that means a lot to me personally because that's one of my best friends. But hey, Dan Paul Hammer, man. If people don't know if even the current Broncos don't know about Dan Paul,
Spence
man,
had the whole family in there the other day.
But you know, and you know what though, like, what do you got, man?
I hear you,
man. I hope people really could experience that. I mean, I know the guys can't now, but go back, watch the film. Like it's all there. Go just if whoever carries out the hammer had 10% of Dan Paul's passion and his drive, oh my gosh, it would be next level. So, RIP Dan, we love you, we miss you. I know he's watching over the boys, especially the hammer coming out. So it's gonna be he's gonna be down there for sure.
Love him now.
Well, thanks again to you guys coming out. We'll be back next week, but thanks to Jackson's again for sponsoring us. All you people that are on the road trip down to Jackson or down to Vegas, make sure you pull off in like Twin and hit up Jackson's Extra Mile, whatever. Get your
CJ,
get your Diet Coke for the road.
Get your Coke.
And we'll be back Monday for a little Ahmed sack drink and maybe a breezy bundle, all that kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
Hey, those DBs and I won't say those DBs aren't contributing to the sack total.
Oh, no question.
Rodney, he fires me up.
I know the Horseshoe Collective's got something going with the old former D line, but hey, there's some DBs in the mix.
Joe Winterspike to pay some money.
Yeah,
I heard he's late on his dues.
I love it.
All right,
awesome.
Thanks. We'll see you guys next week.
Boys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much.
Bronco Nation News is presented by RowPaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.